Okay guys, Humans for Targets here, and I'm going to show you how I clean my pistols. There's a lot of different ways that this can be done, and there is a lot of different products that you can use. You do not have to use the same products that I use, okay? There's a lot of different companies out there that make quality gun cleaning and oil products, okay? This is just the way I clean my gun and what I use when I clean it. And I'm just going to show you some different things that might give you some tips or some little tricks to help you when you clean the firearm. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is you need to field strip your pistol, just a basic field strip, and then get the cleaning rod ready with a little loop here that holds patch. Okay. So what I do first is go ahead and get a patch out. And thread it through the end of the cleaning rod. Okay, and then pretty much the main cleaner I always like to use is this Hops Elite. It's just what works for me. Some people like it, some don't. You know, like I said, there's various products out there that you can use, but this is what I like. Then what I'm going to do is give it a good spray down for the initial. This is going to go through the barrel, so get it nice and wet. Okay. And then what you're going to do is take your barrel and run the patch through a couple of times. Get that barrel nice and wet in there. Okay, with this cleaner. Okay, now we're going to put this aside and leave it sit with that cleaner in there so it can loosen things up and do its job. Okay, so we can I'm going to take this one out and discard it, and then I usually go on to the slide. Okay, now the main areas I like to hit on the slide is, well, you need to wipe over everything, but in the rail grooves here, you really want to get into there and clean those. And I'm going to show you, a couple of different ways to do that. I'm going to use a cleaning patch here. This gun's not really that dirty, but there may be a little bit of dirt that comes off of it. Now, this here, what I'm going to use is Norton cleaning stick. You can get these on countycom.com. Cutlery Lover Jeff, he gave me some of these in a package that he sent. So if you want to buy some, go to countycom.com. Okay, that's where you can get these guys. See, it has a tapered end right here. This will get you into a lot of small spaces and areas in the gun. And then it has a hooked end right here, which might help you with cleaning extractors and things like that. So what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to take the regular slanted end right here, and I'm going to put a patch on that. Then I'm going to go ahead and spray some of my Hops Elite cleaner on there. Go into the slide rail. Run this through the rail like that. See, I'm getting more dirt out. I didn't use this last time, and there's dirt in there. It's very good for cleaning these rails out with this. There you go. Okay. Then I'm going to go to a clean area of this same rag, and I'm going to go back into the rails again and wipe over it again. Less dirt's coming out now. It's basically powder, fouling, carbon. Like that. Okay. So that's what you want to do for your rails to get down in there. And you don't have to use this. I brought out a couple other things to show you what else you can use. You can take a Q-tip, spray your cleaner on the end of the Q-tip, and just as easily go in there with Q-tips. It might take you a little bit longer, but it can do the job. You can also wrap a cleaning patch around the end of the cleaning rod here, like that. And you can also use this in the rail, like that. But you just have to watch, because sometimes this will rip through the material and it'll, you know, hit metal on metal with your slide. So just be careful. You can use a Q-tip if you don't have one of these. Basically anything small. You could even use a toothbrush. Just use an old toothbrush, put cleaner on it, and you can get in the rails like that. But you need a good way to dry it out, you know, to get the cleaner back out of the rails as well. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is it's going to involve this toothbrush. Just, you know, get an old toothbrush that, you know, you don't use anymore, and I'm just going to spray some cleaner on it. I'm just going to go down in here. I'm going to start to scrub these areas. Now what I try to do is I try not to get a lot of liquid down in the firing pin channel. Okay? So what I'll do for that is I'll hold the gun up this way and scrub like this. So the firing pin channel is facing downward toward the table. Then you can come in here, scrub in here, you know, get the sides, get everything really good down in here. Okay. Then what you can do is take and wrap a patch around the toothbrush and go back down in there with that into the areas, and as you can see, it's pulling it out. I need a bigger rag here. I just didn't bring one with me. But if I had a bigger rag, that's what I'd wrap around the toothbrush right now. Turn the gun up again. Clean that firing pin, or the breech face, where the firing pin channel is. Give me one moment here. Clean in there really good. Okay. Come back down to where your barrel goes inside the slide. Scrub in there some more. Try to get that all dried out along the sides. Like I said, guys, this gun was pretty clean for the most part, so I'm just kind of doing this kind of fast. As you can see, I actually got more dirt out, more powder, fouling, but it's looking pretty clean. Right here is your ejector. I'm sorry, this is your extractor. Don't want to get that mixed up. This right here would be the ejector. Okay? And the slide is the extractor. See if I can get you a view down in there. Yep. That piece right down there with the hook on it, that's the extractor that extracts the shell out. You want to be sure and take something and get down in behind that and around that and get it clean down in there where it grabs the shell casing. That's pretty important. It's another area that I use the toothbrush on, because the toothbrush comes up and gets in back behind there. Okay? Get a lot of debris out like this behind that extractor. Okay? And just take and go like this with your toothbrush on your cloth or rag. Try to get some of the excess dirt off. And also what you can do is you can take a patch, thread it through here, and let's see, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this in front of the camera, but I angle it just so when it gets up in there that a piece of the patch, it's hard to do in front of the camera, gets back in there like this. I get a little piece of it wedged back behind the extractor, and the cleaning rod, gives it something sturdy to push it back in there. And as you can see, the black right there that came out from behind there. Okay, just want to make sure to keep that area nice and clean. Okay. Wipe everything down as you go. Okay, now that is basically what I do for the slide. I don't think I forgot anything. I hope not. For now. There's a little bit more I'm going to do to the slide, but that is not until I assemble the gun. Now, moving along to the frame. Now this is another area where I would use the toothbrush. Spray some cleaner on your brush. Not a whole lot, just enough. Just enough to dampen it. And then come down in here, all around these rail guides. Down in there, you see some springs. Let's see if I get this to focus in. Along the rails over here, along all these edges. Okay, any of these parts in here, you just don't want it wet to where it's dripping down in there. Just enough. Just dampen it enough. Okay. And then, come back with something dry and wipe everything back out. Just kind of go over everything, wipe everything that you hit back down. You see still getting some black off there. Now, like I said, I'm just doing this kind of fast, guys. This is just, I would be taking more of my time on this if I were not, doing a video. Just get everything wiped down that you touched. Now, here's something that I like to do that a lot of people don't do. This is going to be a good tip for a lot of you guys out there. And there's an important part of this gun that a lot of people overlook. And that is in the magazine well here. Okay? A lot of people overlook cleaning in there. I clean it all the way top to bottom. Now, what I'll do for that is I will put another patch in here. Now I'm going to give it a good little amount of the Hops Elite Cleaner on the patch. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the gun like this, and I'm going to go into the corners. I'm going to kind of roll it like this so it's tight in there, and I'm going to go in the corners up against the front strap. I'm going to basically do the go tight against the side walls all the way up in here. You'd be surprised how many people neglect this when they clean a gun and they never even touch this area. There's some dirt coming out. Maybe you can see how I'm doing this. I'm going in the corners, going against the front strap, corner there, trying to hit all the areas down in there. You do get fouling, then you can come from the top and go down this and that way, the back and the front. Sorry guys if this was out of focus. Like this, you know. And also, you don't have to do it like that. I will show you another way. You can put cleaner on the toothbrush. Take the toothbrush in and up and down and all along the edges and corners, and then go ahead and get a rag, wrap the rag around your toothbrush, and when it gets down to your hand, pinch the rag down here, and then take the toothbrush with a rag wrapped around it back up through to dry everything out, okay? Just giving you some different, some different ideas on how to clean them. Okay, and that's basically all I would do for the frame. Get everything clean, dry. Then I would go ahead and I would take some cleaner and clean the slide pin, the pin that goes through to hold your slide stop on. I would clean that off real good, just with a rag and some cleaner. Okay, and then what you're going to do with that is, I'm going to be using some Militech here. You're just going to take a drop of oil, put it on that pin, and maybe just use something and get the oil wrap. You don't need a ton of oil on there, just enough, just enough so it's a little wet. That's how I leave mine, just a little wet, where you can just see a little gleam of oil. Now that pin is oiled enough, like that, okay? That's oiled enough. Okay, now we're going to go back to the barrel that's been sitting with the cleaner in it. So what you want to do is take a clean, fresh patch, thread it back through the cleaning rod, like so. Dry. Leave this dry. And then you're going to go through your barrel once again, and that's going to pull out a lot of the carbon. Now when the barrel's pretty dirty and you've been shooting a while, you're going to have to do more cleaning than you just seen me do. Okay? As you can see, this barrel's pretty clean. Okay, but if I had done quite a bit of shooting and this barrel were dirty, okay, the next step that I would do, would be, okay, then take your, hang on, there's another piece. Oh, here it is. Okay, take a brass bristle brush, screw that into your cleaning rod, and then what you're going to do is you're going to spray cleaner directly onto this brass brush. This is softer than steel, so it won't hurt the barrel. And then you're going to go through the barrel. I go through and come back. Some people only go through. I've been cleaning guns like this for, I don't know, 17 or more years, and it's always worked for me, through and back. And then what you do after you do a bunch of passes, then you want to put a patch back on this. You want to put a patch back on after you do quite a few passes with the brass brush, and then take your patch through. Now look at that dirt that brass brush just removed. Even though with how clean that barrel looked, there was actually more dirt in there. Okay, so now it's even cleaner than it was before. Now that's a clean barrel, my friends. Okay, sorry guys, my memory was full on my camera. I had to delete some stuff. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some Militech oil. Well, first you want to clean the outside of your barrel. Okay, I'm going to take this Hops Elite Cleaner. Getting all sidetracked here because of the camera. Just go over your the outside of the barrel with the cleaner. Okay, clean in between these lugs really good, down in there. Get all that, all around these lugs, everywhere. You know, I put it in between here, go through there. You want that nice and clean. Okay. Then once you have cleaned that thoroughly, then you're going to take a patch and you're going to put some coating of Militech oil on there, or whatever oil that you choose to use, and then you're going to just wipe down the entire barrel with a light coating of oil. Don't worry if you get too much on there. You're just going to wipe off the excess. Okay? So just kind of turn the rag and wipe off the excess oil. Doesn't have to be a lot. Okay? Now, before the slide ever goes back on, there's something very important that I do with this slide to oil it, to oil the rails, okay? And I hope this is going to focus in pretty good for you, which it should. Take your slide and stand it up like this, okay? You want where your hammer would be facing the ceiling. Take your oil, whatever it is, and you're going to put a drop into each side like this. Whoop, I got too much there and it went the wrong way. But I am doing this in front of the camera. But basically what you're going to do is just put a drop in there, and you're going to let gravity do its work and let that drop of oil run down those inner slide rails like that down to the bottom. Okay? Any excess will drip out and you can wipe it off. That's how I oil my slide rails. If you get too much in there, just grab yourself a patch, a dry patch, go in there and just wipe around and get that excess off, okay? That's all you got to do. Just get that excess out of there, and you know, and you'll be good to go. Okay, next what we're going to do is take care of the frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to take another patch. No, we don't need the cleaner this time. We're going to put just a touch, not too much, of the oil that you're using, the lubricating oil. And we're going to, any parts that's metal back here, just put a light coating of this oil on those parts, okay? And if you get too much, just go back and wipe it off with another rag, okay? This piece here is metal. We're going to coat that with oil. These little rails here, back here, anything that's metal, this piece on the side here, right here, that piece back there, anything that's metal, you want to wipe over the rail, and then if there's too much, go back and wipe off the excess, okay? And that's all you need to do for oiling the frame. And now on your guide rod, you really don't need to oil this, okay? All you need to do is take a cleaning patch with some cleaner on it and just kind of wipe over everything on this, okay? You know, and you can kind of take the spring and just kind of hold it like that and twist your spring. There's not a whole lot you need to do to this, okay? Just make sure to have it dry, don't have it wet, you know, when you're putting it back together. Okay, now we are ready to reassemble the gun. I'll wipe some of this. I had a little bit too much oil on here, so I'm going to wipe the excess off. Okay, now decock it. Now the final thing what I'm going to do is when I reassemble the gun, I wait to do this part last because, you know, you're touching the slide, you're handling the slide when you put it back on, and, you know, if you're going to store the gun for a long time, should be as clean as it can be. So I do this step last. Some of you may not do it this way. Okay, now that the slide has been reassembled on the gun, keep in mind I did not touch anything on the exterior of the slide yet. So what I'm going to do, first take a patch, put the gun cleaner on the patch, not oil, and then, you know, guys, use a rag for this. I just didn't have one handy right at the moment, so I'm using these little patches, but it's best if you just get a rag out and use it for all this stuff I've been using these patches for. Now what you're going to do is go all over the slide with the cleaner. Okay. Now that it's back on the gun, just try to get everywhere as best you can. Go in the serrations up and down on the back. You really don't need to touch the barrel in there because you've already done that while it was apart. Go along the top of the slide, back around the edges. Okay, now what you want to do is go back over, dry this. And then you could leave it at this right here. You know, you could leave it at that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go a little step further, and I am going to go ahead and coat the slide with some oil. You know, if you could see this steel under a microscope, steel does have pores in it. Really fine little tiny grain of pores. So the oil is going to get down in there, and it's going to keep everything nice and protected, okay? So you know, you don't have to have a bunch on there though. You know, like you see how heavy it is on there right now? Well, I'll go back over that and I will remove all the excess. It doesn't have to be on there to where it's all wet looking, okay? Okay, now I'll just simply take another part of the rag, wipe off this excess. Now the oil is still down in all the pores of the steel, even though you can't see it shimmer and it doesn't look wet now. Okay? The oil is still in there. It's still protecting the steel. You don't have to have it dripping wet. You don't have to have it you know, shining like it's all wet like Armor All on a car tire. You know, that's all you got to do. And this gun is done. Like I said, it would have took me a little bit longer had I not been filming. I just went through everything kind of fast, you know, for the sake of time. And there it is. That gun is clean, fresh, and ready to go. And, you know, do whatever you need to do with it. Alright guys, I hope this helped. And if you have any questions, let me know. This is Humans for Targets. And I'm out.